Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom One, and I am back with another video. You know what you got to do: rate, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so it'll let you know when my next live stream or video goes down. This is not going to be an extremely long video because 80% of my audience watches the re-air, not so much the live stream. But without further ado, let's get into this topic. This is, if you want to check out this article for yourself, it's bleacherreport.com. The LA Lakers felt like they were played by Kawhi Leonard during the free agent period. Okay. And, everyone knows the definition of being played. Everyone knows their interpretation of what being played is. But ultimately, I had a caveat to being played. Ultimately, you end up playing yourself when you overthink the room and you overestimate thinking that A, B, and C is going to happen, but X, Y, and Z ultimately happen, and you really don't have a fallback plan, and your timing is bad. And I felt like all the things I just mentioned is why the reasoning why the Lakers are not satisfied with ultimately who they settled with in free agency, who they signed. Now, let me throw a caveat, a disclaimer out there. The players that they ultimately signed, they're good players, but they're not the players that they were looking for. Okay, or the players that they should have been looking for. And allow a brother to explain. Now, in the free agency period, they were dead set on getting Kawhi Leonard. So much so that they wanted Anthony Davis to not accept that $4 million kicker. That would have been an additional $4 million on top of Anthony Davis' contract. So the Lakers organization asked Anthony Davis to not accept that, and their belief was they would have had enough cap flexibility to sign a max player. And in their belief, they felt like they could have gotten Kawhi Leonard and formed a super team. If they would have gotten Kawhi Leonard, game over for the NBA, because you already got to worry about, even though, LeBron isn't the same athlete he was in Miami, you still have to have concerns for him. And Anthony Davis, a big man that has all those multifacets about him, you also have to worry about him as well. With Kawhi Leonard on that team, game over for the rest of the league. Okay, they would have won. They would have been the favorites. They would have been the next super team that all the other teams would have to worry about. Okay, so they had enough money to sign Kawhi Leonard to a contract. Okay, the problem with that is that's all the money that they had. And I told you guys in live streams as well as Twitter, I felt like the Lakers, instead of putting all their eggs in one basket, waiting on Kawhi Leonard's decision, they should have been signing a lot of players to bolster that roster as well as the bench. Okay, what they could have gotten, instead of worrying about if Kawhi is going to sign with the Lakers, they could have, while they were still available on the market, gotten a JJ Redick. Okay, if you didn't want to pay JJ Redick the money, okay, cool. Then what about Seth Curry? I think Seth Curry, when he was a member of the Portland Trail Blazers, did a lot of amazing things for them. Okay, so there was plenty of shooters on the open market that they could have gotten, but other teams land them real fast, real quick, particularly the first 24 hours of free agency. The players I just mentioned, there's a reason why they wasn't on the board much longer, because other teams picked them up real fast, real quick. Okay, so they could have gotten players like that to bolster their roster and start working on the bench. Now, the players that they ultimately decided on, like let's look at Boogie Cousins. There really wasn't a market for Boogie Cousins. So if you truly wanted Boogie Cousins, you could have waited till all the dust was cleared in free agency. What they which they ultimately did. Okay. Um, when you look at Rondo, there was really no market for Rondo. The real reason why they signed Rondo, because what little point guards that were available in free agency were already gone, and those point guards would have been an upgrade for the Lakers instead of settling for Rondo. Okay, what's up? I appreciate the thumbs up. Okay, so they settled with players that thanks, man. They settled for players that that were like B, C, and D on their list. And two, I didn't believe Kawhi Leonard would ultimately go to the Lakers to form a super team. Guys, you have to remember, he was on a super team. He was with the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. He was the fourth banana on that super team. And that was one of the reasons why he wanted to hurry up and get out of San Antonio, because all of those players were, were Popovich soldiers. With ultimately Popovich soldiers. All right. So he didn't want to be in another situation, in another scenario where where those players could have say so by the amount of people in agreement. Okay, he was in a team similar like that. That it wasn't the main factor that he left, but it was one of the factors that he left. Plus, he pretty much have been a super team destroyer. Okay, with the Miami Heat, when they played against Miami Heat, when Miami Heat had their big three with LeBron James, Chris Paul, and Dwayne Wade, he beat that team, and that was a super team. Okay, he just recently beat another super team. Okay, and you have to put a little asterisk behind it, because the Golden State Warriors, they didn't have Kevin Durant. Okay. Klay Thompson was in and out of the lineup due to injuries. So the injuries were a key factor in why the Golden State Warriors could not win that championship. But you still have to give credit and kudos to Kawhi Leonard and to Toronto Raptors. They still won the championship, okay? Even though they had those other things in the running for them winning a championship. You should have to give it to them, okay? So he's already been in scenarios where he's been on a super team and he has beaten super team. So he has plenty of experience and plenty of information at his disposal on why there's pros and cons in having a super team, okay? He was on a super team that had those other pieces, but they couldn't get other pieces to play around that atmosphere in San Antonio. Okay, even though Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan took less, still they couldn't really improve the roster with the money that was left available. Okay, and he has already beaten super teams. So in his mind, in his estimation, he's thinking at it as, yo, why do I need to be on a super team? I just beaten 2 super teams. I was previously on a super team. Okay? So that's another factor. And 3, I feel like a lot of people are not really giving this more credence, but I really think now more than ever, a lot of NBA players really don't want to play with LeBron James. Not the fact that LeBron James is a bad player, but the fact that the aura around LeBron James can sometimes be toxic. I think that's what Kevin Durant was talking about. So, for an example, when things go well, they're going to give all the praise and all the credit to LeBron James. When things go bad, they're going to point to the others, okay? It's going to always be, it's never going to be equal footing. It's never going to be LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard show. It's always going to be the LeBron James show and the others. And I feel like a lot of NBA superstars don't want to play in that type of atmosphere, particularly when a lot of these players feel, and I do have to give them credence on this, is better than LeBron James. Kawhi Leonard is better than LeBron James, okay? Kevin Durant is better than LeBron James, okay? So, to think that a player mentally already knows that he's better than that player, why would I want to go and join up with him? He should come and join up with me. That's what a lot of these NBA players are saying. Okay, I got to go run to him. Okay, whoa, wait a minute. He should be running to me. And part of that is LeBron James' fault. Because remember, LeBron James, he was in Cleveland. He said that he couldn't get stars in Cleveland because of the simple fact that it's Cleveland. Okay? When truth be told, it's you. All right? You couldn't get stars in Cleveland, so you went to Miami, right? Miami's an attractive state, okay? They got D Wade, they got Chris Bosh, they got they got a lot of things, okay? But you still couldn't get players to play for below marketing price in free agency, to take a haircut to a home discount, sort of say, to get other stars to join in Miami. So what did you do? You bolted out, okay? Once you couldn't get talent in, and y'all was always good, so you couldn't really get talent through the draft, okay? And then now you started to get into that salary cap hell. You went back to Cleveland, all right, with a team that already had Kawhi Leonard, and you had to trade to get Kevin Love. And playing 1 year with Kevin Love, you already you pretty much stated that, damn, I think this was a bad decision. But that's all you could have gotten at that time, okay? So what did you do? You leave, you win a championship there, you go to the Lakers thinking, okay, well, Lakers is an attractive town, an attractive city. Everybody want to be a Los Angeles Laker, right? Okay, so we should be able to attract talent here, okay? Okay, Anthony Davis is a plus, but I think I don't want to. You shouldn't give all the credit to LeBron James. If you want to give it to influencing, okay, he fired his agent, and he signed. He allowed Clutch Sports to represent him, and everybody knows Clutch Sports is ultimately run and owned by LeBron James. So basically, wait a minute. The only way you can get talent now, if you if Clutch Sports can sign, is the representative of a lot of these players, okay? And that's why the Morris brothers have problems. Ultimately, they one of them fired. He was only represented by Clutch Sports, but not anymore. He let them go, and now he's allowing another agent to represent him, due to the fact that Clutch Sports, since it's owned by LeBron James, he had an opportunity. The Morris brother had an opportunity to go to the Clippers. And if he would have been signed to the Los Angeles Clippers, all this other stuff would have fallen into him, okay? He would have been playing alongside Kawhi Leonard. He would also been playing alongside Paul George, okay? And now their chances are really increased by winning a championship, because he defends LeBron James very, very well. Okay, but Clutch Sports saw the writing on the wall on that. Whoa, wait a minute. We can't put him. He can't sign with the Clippers. And and at that time, nobody knew where Kawhi Leonard was going at that time. But he couldn't sign with the Clippers, because if he would have signed with the Clippers, then he's the perfect defender for LeBron James. They already had a good, their team was already good enough defensive wise with Patrick Beverly and others. Okay. So understand what they were doing at that time. They were undermining their client, and ultimately that's going to leave a stain with Clutch Sports, because now a lot of a lot of stars in the NBA is going to look side-eyed to that. They're going to like, wait a minute, are you doing the best deal for yourself and LeBron James, or are you trying to make a best deal for me? Are you truly representing me, or you're trying to undermine my ability in the market by making sure LeBron James doesn't play against me? Okay, so those are things that's pondering in a lot of NBA stars' mind. Okay, and I'm telling you, that situation right there is going to undermine Clutch Sports, because at that time, Clutch Sports was going to be a juggernaut in agency, in sports agency, particularly in the NBA. They was going to dictate and control the landscape of the NBA, in the NBA, as far as where players are going to go ultimately. Okay, I felt like it was going to have that much of an impact. Okay, but now, since this recent activity done transpired, now more than ever, it's going to leave a stain to them. And now a lot of players, a lot of future NBA stars like Zion Williams and others are going to look at them side-eyed. Okay, and it's going to, it's going to make them fall back a little bit. Okay, so let's get to the issue of, did the Lakers get played? The Lakers got played, but they played themselves. Instead of worrying about trying to get Kawhi Leonard, okay, they should have been worrying about bettering their team. Okay, they should have, instead of worrying about Kawhi, we already got LeBron, we already got Anthony Davis, we're good. Okay, now let's start forming the roster. Okay, and a lot of deals that they could have made, to better that roster, to better your starting five, to better your bench. A lot of those players you could have gotten, you could have bidded for and had an opportunity to get them. Okay, now those players are off the list from other teams. Okay, and that's why you keep hearing people say, well, the NBA, the other teams are colluding with them. Colluding with themselves to sign players. Go ahead and sign players fast off the roster. Off the free agency period, so the Lakers could not pick them up. And then you kept hearing rumblings about the NBA players. There was certain, NBA players that didn't want to play with LeBron James. And, that's the reason why the other deals were made, to hurry up and get these players off the board so the Lakers could not pick them up. Okay. So you kept hearing rumors about that, but none of it is confirmed, but none of it is either denied. Okay. So, that's the reason why the Lakers feel like they've been played, because ultimately they played themselves, and like I'm gonna state it again, like I said it earlier, and I just said it just now. If the Lakers would have just focused their attention to to making the roster better, those same players that they ultimately settled and signed, those same players would have still been available after they would have made the roster better, after they should have signed the players that they had an opportunity to sign. Okay, Boogie Cousins would have still been on the market. Rondo would been on the market. Nobody was interested in those players at that time. And and the reason why Boogie Cousins, there's no market for Boogie Cousins, because nobody truly knows the extent of his injury. I think that the injury that he had in the playoffs and his performance in the playoffs really affect Boogie's money and the demand for him. Okay, so yet again, he's going to have to prove he's going to get on a team like the Lakers. A one-year contract. He's going to have to prove to the league that he's still Boogie, and he's still young, okay? And there's for these past 2 years, Boogie has lost. He left a lot of money on the table, but he also lost a lot of money on the table. So he's going to have to have he's going to have a great season with the Lakers in order for him to get that type of money again. Okay, so that I mean, you can't go through life saying I think I've been played, when the person that you should be looking at is the one in the mirror. I mean, you truly played yourself, and that's what the Lakers did. They overthought the room, and they had this false perspective about players really want to play with LeBron James, and they're willing to take pay cuts to play with LeBron James. And now we got Anthony Davis. Now that's the cherry on top. Ultimately a lot of these players are going to not take the money, and they're going to come play with us, and we definitely could get Kawhi Leonard. Another reason why they had so much false hope on Kawhi Leonard is the simple fact of, a lot of people were really taking to heart that Kawhi Leonard's father has a relationship with Earvin Magic Johnson. And when they tried to establish a meeting with the Lakers, they wanted Earvin Magic Johnson to attend that meeting, okay? Which ultimately the NBA had to come in and say, hey, look, Magic can't attend that meeting, okay? But remember, Magic left the Lakers because he felt like, he could not make that roster any better. That was the real reason why Magic left. The real reason why Magic left was he thought he couldn't get Anthony Davis. He thought he couldn't get Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant. That's the real reason why Magic left, because, look, I got them LeBron, okay? So even though my job ain't complete, I can leave with face value saying, look, I got them somewhat better, all right? And that's when you kept hearing all this other mess about how toxic the organization is and things of that nature, okay? But yet this guy, y'all got to remember, Magic Johnson, he smiles on television and he tells you guys, oh, Jeannie Buss is my sister, the Buss family, that's my family. So much of your family that you left them high and dry, you didn't even tell them that you left, okay? They had to hear it from the press. But then, after he talks about the dysfunction of the Los Angeles Lakers, he wants to be in the room about pitching Kawhi Leonard to joining the Los Angeles Lakers. And remember, all of this was coming from Magic Johnson. Nobody would have known this if it wasn't from Magic Johnson's camp. All the leaks and stuff. Notice how when he left, you didn't hear too much about the Lakers, about leaks and stuff like that, what they're planning on doing. Everybody speculated what the Lakers were going to do. But once they get an opportunity to get Kawhi Leonard, a meeting to talk to Kawhi Leonard, it's already out in the news, particularly when the father has a relationship with Earvin Magic Johnson, and I guarantee you Earvin Magic Johnson talked to Kawhi's father, hey, do me a solid, include me in the negotiations, okay? But besides all that, Kawhi Leonard had no interest in or desire to go to Los Angeles because of what I just said earlier. I don't think Kawhi Leonard is built like that to form super teams, because if you look at his resume, he was already on a super team. He didn't like being the fourth banana, okay? If you look at his resume, he already beaten a super team in the Miami Heat when they had LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. So why would I want to pair it with somebody that I already done beaten? Think about that for a second. And then why would I want to be on a super team when I just dismantled the Golden State Warriors, who was a super team? I mean, you don't need a super team to win a championship. You just need one or two good players, and you have to have a supporting cast around those players. And the only way you're going to have that is only two players. And by the way, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George when you look at these contracts, they're not huge contracts by any stretch of the imagination where they can't add other players. And Kawhi Leonard took less money and it's really a 2-year deal. Okay, so you know, that's all. I mean, that's all I got to say for today. And you know, if you know, I had like a couple of people in the live stream. I was going to read their messages, but now they're gone. But that's neither here nor there. I was gonna do a little Q&A, particularly on NBA topics. I don't want to talk about politics or anything else, YouTube or anything else like that. I was gonna keep it NBA related, but that's fine and dandy. Okay. But that's all I gotta say, folks. I hope everyone enjoyed this live stream. And you know, if y'all have any questions, just comment below. I will get back at you with your comments. It's your boy, I'm Chris the Dom One, and I am out. Deuces.